Hello, my name is Bruce Martin, and the name of the show today is Let's Rock and Roll. Alicia, what I have to ask you is what is your title with the Ronald McDonald House?
So I'm the development director at the house.
Development director?
Yes.
How long have you been doing that?
Over 4 years.
It's been that long? Wow. I know 4 years.
It flies by though.
You've been helping us for a long time, and you've made it so much. I think you were, did Robin say take care of those people or something?
Well, I said I like those people. I want to hang out with them.
That's cool. Yeah, well, we've adopted you as one of our.
Yeah.
You know, who first came up with the concept of a house to take care of families while their child's being treated? What was that? What was the first How did that come? How did that start?
So it came out of a need for a home away from home for families, and it started back in 1974, actually before 1974. Fred Hill, who was a Philadelphia Eagles football player.
It started in Pennsylvania.
It started in Pennsylvania, yep. So he and his wife had a daughter that was diagnosed with cancer. And there was no Ronald McDonald House at the time, so they were sleeping in the hospital. They were renting hotel rooms, and they had to travel a long distance to get her treatment for her type of cancer. And so they, after everything was good with her, they realized that there was a need. And so Fred, the Eagles football team, and Fred Hill kind of spearheaded this, and they got a pediatric physician on board, and they got McDonald's as their mission partner, and the first Ronald McDonald House was opened in 1974.
That was my next question, in 74, but why Ronald McDonald? So because I think I know why, but maybe you could explain to the people why Ronald McDonald.
Yeah, so Ronald McDonald House is really the mission partner of McDonald's. McDonald's was the one that kind of helped make the first Ronald McDonald House a vision. The vision that they had, they made it into an actual house.
Well, are they still, is Ronald McDonald still involved?
They are. So Ronald McDonald's is our mission partner, and we have, so here in Maine we actually have 65 stores across Maine and northern New Hampshire, and so there's a co-op here in Maine that we work with, and they're all local owner-operators that own these franchises, and so that's kind of where the partnership has grown to.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So the first one was in Pennsylvania.
Yes.
Right? And when was that about? What year was that? Do you remember?
74 was the first one.
Back in 74. Okay.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. That's really awesome. In Maine, we have what, 2 in Maine, right?
We do. Yep. So we have one here in Portland, and then we have one in Bangor.
Now the one in Bangor, that's the most recent one, right? That wasn't.
That's actually the oldest one in the state.
No, see, I thought Portland was first.
No, nope. So Bangor was actually the first house in Maine, and that came out of with the partnership of Eastern Maine Medical Center, and so then here in Portland. So in Bangor they opened in 1983. Wow. And I usually have the exact numbers in my head. I don't for the number. If you look at Ronald McDonald Houses, there's different anniversaries, and I think Bangor may have been like the 17th Ronald McDonald House to open, but don't quote me on that. And then Portland opened in 95.
95.
So I think we're the 30th house or something that opened in the
How many
United
total,
in the
approximately,
world.
in the world?
In the world, there's over 330 houses, if not more, and there's new houses opening every day. So it's really amazing.
And I'll tell you later why I picked the Ronald McDonald out of all the charities that I could give to, and I'll tell you what prompted me to, what's it like to work for that Ronald McDonald House? I've been there because you guys do a luncheon for us, and we take pictures of us giving you the check and all that, which I love, But
usually you're there when it's fairly quiet too.
And I have been there with my committee. We'll talk about that later. But what's it like to work in that house?
So I work out of the Portland house, and I love it. You get to see the families that you're impacting, the siblings that are there because the whole family has to come and everyone's displaced, and so it's a really amazing thing, and I love what I do every day. I get up and I get excited about what I do.
I go there a couple times a year, and the whole place is immaculate. First of all,
Thank you.
And how many people? I know there's a lot of people that work there, but most of them are all volunteers. How many paid employees and how many volunteers?
So in the state, we have 12 full-time employees. So
12?
Yes,
That's it?
That's it. Yep, to run 2 houses and a family room at Barbara Bush Children's Hospital.
Oh.
Yes.
And then everything else is volunteer? All those people?
Everyone else that comes in, we're really a volunteer-driven organization.
Wow. I know when I go there, the place is
Yeah.
immaculate for that. How many families can you put up at that, if needed, at the Portland place?
At the Portland house, we can do 21 families per night.
20, and what's, I know I've got that coming up as a question, but what does it cost your Ronald McDonald place to house a family? I know it probably different costs because some need rides, some don't need rides, some, you know, what's the average that it costs you to put up a family for?
So we have the 21 guest rooms we have in Portland, and then the 14 guest rooms we have in Bangor.
Yeah.
We have 35 guest rooms across the state that we can have families stay in every day of the year.
Yeah.
So it costs us $75 per night to operate one of those guest rooms.
$75 per night.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I know you guys provide. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I mean, if whatever they need, be it toothpaste, toothbrushes, ride to the hospital, anything they need.
We do, yes.
Yeah,
so
see, that's awesome.
when you walk in the Ronald McDonald house, it becomes your home. Families are given a key to access the front door.
I know they
can
use
come
the
and go.
kitchen and stuff.
Yep, we have a full kitchen. We have guest chefs that come in every night, almost every night of the year, and they prepare meals for our families for dinner. And it's all served buffet style, so families, there's no pressure to come. You know, they come back from the hospital when they can, and you know, if you want a midnight snack at 2 o'clock in the morning, come on down to the kitchen.
Like their home.
It's their
while
home,
they're away
So
from home.
they get that room, and it's where they get to stay. And we have laundry facilities, so there's laundry. Well, our volunteers actually do all the house laundry. So when a family checks out,
They do all the cleaning, because I know
do all the
the place was
cleaning.
immaculate.
yep, we get all.
We get those volunteers to come by my house once in a while.
They're
place
really
was
good. Yeah,
immaculate.
we actually have what's called the Wow Factor, and it's a guide to making up each of our guest rooms, because we're all about consistency and making sure that the experience is consistent every
You know,
time.
one of the years, and we'll get into what I do for you guys later on, but one of the years that when we were there on that luncheon you give us, and we have kind of a meeting to critique the dance we just did and to take the picture that goes in the paper of us thanking you guys and all that stuff, and also thanking the businesses, which we'll get into in a minute, that donate to me or to my committee to help you. It's awesome. But there was a lady from upstate Maine, a little older lady that came to me, and when I went out to the kitchen to get something, she said, "I know what you do, and I just want to thank you." You know, and I said, "Well, don't thank me, because I mean, just come in and thank. There's 18 people in there on my committee. Come in, you know." And when you put a face to what we do, you know, I mean, not just, you know, it's awesome. So I mean, the committee I have, which we'll talk about in a second, they're committed to do anything they can to raise money for this event. You know, for our event, to raise money for the Ronald McDonald House. But
They put a lot of hours and a lot
yeah,
of
we'll talk about that.
all their
I
time
think
in,
I'm with your question as far as, you know, asking you things, and then you can start asking me if you'd like, which is
Awesome.
probably going to ruin the whole show, but doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. I got a sense of humor. But yeah, I wanted people to know as much, not about me, but about the event, which I'm passionate about, but about the Ronald McDonald House, and to ask, you know, the average person out there, everybody knows about Ronald McDonald, so it's not like,
Right.
oh, it's a new, you know, no. But what is it? Where did it start? I mean, you know Ronald McDonald. It's got to be something to do with Ronald McDonald House.
Yes.
I mean, with the McDonald's, you know, it has to be, you know. But how that came about, and that's what I wanted to get across, so that people will hear, oh, I never knew that about the Ronald McDonald, which hopefully can help you guys. Now they know, and when I get done with them, they're going to know about why I picked your place and over a lot of other charities, you know.
Yeah, and I can explain a little bit more about the McDonald's relationship as well as the Ronald McDonald houses here in Maine. So last year we served 594 families, to be specific, and those families stayed for over 7,500 nights. So those families came from Maine, New Hampshire, from across the world. I mean, we actually had a few families that came from other countries last year. And it's because Maine Medical Center, the doctors there's some doctors there that have very specialty care and do pro bono work. So it's really, really amazing what they do.
Oh, you know what I just thought of? You and I talked about it before, but I didn't put it in the questions to you, that a lot of people don't know about the age, you know, the children that you accept
Yes,
Everybody's got to, they pick a different, they don't know.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
So in order to stay at the Ronald McDonald House, the family has to have a patient 21 years or younger, but it's for any medical condition. So there's always that.
It's not just cancer.
It's not just cancer, yeah. So there's always been that misconception that it's just cancer patients. It could be, for, mental health. It could be for a car accident. It could be for cancer treatment. So it's any diagnosis. As long as the patient's under the age of 21, their family can stay with us. We only give one guest room per family, which is important because we're very busy and there's always the need there. So for that, we always limit it to one. But our rooms vary in size. So you can have 2 people in a room. You could have up to 8 people in a room. Wow. Depending on the size.
I know when we went there, I've taken a couple of different tours, but all the committee people, and we get new committee people coming on, asking us to be on the committee, and when we go there, you guys give them a tour, and everyone's there is so impressed. They just didn't know what it was, and when you go through there,
you sometimes you really have to see the house, and as soon as you see the house, it's just you have a totally different perspective.
The only thing that's bad is the parking.
Yeah, I know. Right, we're right in the West End.
I parked in a different zip code. I think I wouldn't even. For an old guy to walk that distance.
Thankfully, Main Med is 2 blocks down, so the public parking there helps us out a lot. During snowstorms, families will park over there, which works out. But
you know what I like too is that if you guys ever go and visit that place, I think you're welcome. You probably have to prearrange a visit or whatever. But they have this courtyard, and you guys started, I don't know how many years ago. We have people who contribute to the Ronald McDonald's, not all of them, I guess, but you guys have this brick made up, and it's like ours says Biddeford Rock and Roll or Biddeford Oldies Dance or something like that. So we got a bunch of these bricks in the courtyard, which is awesome to walk around and try to find your brick.
Yes, it's a beautiful, I love the courtyard. We actually have some master gardeners that came in 2 years ago, and they started kind of revitalizing our courtyard, and the flowers just look amazing too. So when you guys do come by this fall, hopefully everything will still be up in bloom, and you'll see a lot of it. It's
we usually come by after the event.
After the event,
Yeah, I think we come before the gala or after the gala, which we can talk about.
Yeah, we can talk a little bit more about that. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, if you would, we can talk about that now if you'd like. The gala is something that Ronald McDonald puts on this. I guess it's a fundraiser, but it's also to thank the people like the group that you're going to hear about later that raises money they give us a table and all that, and they have all kinds of auctions and stuff. So you want to talk about the gala, where it's going to be this year?
It's October 27th this year, and it's at the Brick South facility on Thompson's Point. It's a new facility in Portland.
Yeah, I've never been there.
So we're really excited to be in there. It's a 1920s theme, so it should be fun.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's even older than I am. So before you give me a shot about the 1920s.
1920s, when you were born, right?
I could feel the shot coming, Elisa. I could feel it coming.
We're hoping to have over 250 people, and it's one of our major fundraisers. So I enjoy planning it. It's probably one of my favorite every year because of the decorations and the costumes and seeing everyone get dressed up.
You gave out, Wendy got one last year, one of those masks.
Yes, we had a masquerade.
Those aren't cheap, man. Those things are, gotta be, those are
I actually found it. There was a store in Portland, and it was right after Halloween, and everything was 50% off.
Yeah.
And so I ended up getting those masks for a steal, and then they added like an additional 30% off of it. I'm like, I'll buy 50.
Oh, they were awesome. I mean, the women loved them, I'll tell you. But the gala is really nice. We like coming to that, and this is going to be a different place. I've never been to this place, so it's. I like the different places myself. So basically, as far as my questions to you, and anything else you want to throw in. But then, so if you've got questions you'd like to ask me.
Yes. Yep.
And one of the things I want before you get to the questions for me is this guy here, my buddy in the back. One of the committee members bought this Elvis and bought 2 other things that these things that people on a bike or dancing and you put your face in and whatever. And poor lady's committee member spent about $300 and wouldn't take us reimbursing her from the dance money. That was her contribution, right? So we got Elvis. We take him all over the place and whatever. And Wendy, my wife, said, let's take Elvis, because when we go for the luncheon in Portland, we take pictures with
Robin, our executive
Robin,
director.
yeah. And we're holding the big check that we make and whatever. So we put him, all the committee members are like in a crescent shape, so we put Elvis in back at like,
back.
so like, and we list him as a committee member, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Elvis Presley, right? And
You gotta find Elvis in the picture.
yeah, and I didn't know that when this goes in the newspaper, and when at the end, when I publish the ad in the paper thanking all the businesses and whatever, it goes to 17 newspapers in this area, you know. I only get 2 of them, so I can only see the results of 2, but I had calls saying that I didn't know if anybody would notice, like, look who's in the picture, and then see Elvis as like a committee member, but I had all kinds of calls saying, you know, Elvis is on you. I said, yeah, he comes to dance and everything.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
He comes to every committee meeting.
He does. He's
Yeah.
like he's my buddy there.
That's awesome.
So the only bad part about him is when I leave him set up in my home. I have like a rec room with a pool table, and I can't leave him set up anymore because every time my wife gets up at night or in the morning, she screams. She thinks it's somebody in the house. Every time she'll scream, she must have seen Elvis.
Comes around the corner and
she comes around going, there's a guy there. She is like, she threatened to kill me or beat me up with Elvis if I left her. So I can't leave him up anymore. It scares the heck out of her.
yeah, you keep him sideways or something.
yeah. But no, I love him.
That's awesome. Yeah, I've gotten to know Elvis very well over the last 4 years.
I have people come up and take pictures with him at the dances and stuff, you know, and that's what. But anyway, go ahead. It's your turn to ask me stuff.
Yeah.
Stuff.
So Bruce, can you share with me some of just kind of your history, and before we get into kind of the dance, what you've done and why, and then why you started the dance?
Yeah, my work history in law enforcement, couple of different PDs, and 30 years with the Fish and Wildlife Department. Retired with 30 years with them, which is I love retirement. But how this started, well, first of all, when I went into the military, it was not my plan or my goal. I originally went into the Army wanting to be a mechanic. I thought when I grew up, you worked with hot rod cars, you lowered the back end of the car, and they were hot rods. Mm-hmm. I figured if I can be like, well, when I went into basic and I saw that I'm not going to even touch a car, it's going to be these big trucks, and I'm going to be all filthy. I said, oh, God help me. So I always said this. I think God likes guys with funny looking hair because somebody made a mistake. I ended up being a DJ, and I played music in Germany for France and Germany. Played rock and roll music in a time when it was American Bandstand and Motown, which I loved the Motown concept and the people and what Motown has produced, you know. So I was a DJ. So I got out of the service and I got into law enforcement, all kinds of other things. And about 9 years ago now, my wife and I, there's no place to dance anymore to the music that we grew up with. You know, there's nothing wrong with any other type of music at all. But what moves me is rock and roll, the Motown and the soul and Marvin Gaye and the Temptations, and those guys are genius. That's what moves me. So we were in Walmart in Biddeford, and I ran across a little 5-year-old boy that was dying of cancer. So I said, hi, Shorty, and he smiled and stuff. And then, so we left there and went to Shaw's, and this is how the concept started, and they need to know that. Went to Shaw's, I ran across the same little boy, and within an hour after, and we were going home, and I got to tell you this because it really happened, and I'm I can understand. I had something come into my head that I can't explain to you, and it wasn't a voice saying hey old fool. It wasn't anything like that. It was so clear what I'm told to do, and I will do. If I got to do it by myself, I'll clean the hall, set up the hall, play the music, sell the tickets. I'm driven to do this, and I said, I'm going to put on an oldies rock and roll dance, but who do I donate them, and is it going to work? The following day, we went to a cookout, Roger and Bonnie, some friends of ours in Saco, and they said, well, we'll help you. It'll be like a committee, and we didn't know if it was going to do one and never do another one. We're going to put on an oldies rock and roll dance, and we'll help you. And I said, oh, that's fine, we'll do it. Then I said, okay, who am I going to give this money to? So first thing I thought of was Ronald McDonald House. And one of the things that made me choose the Ronald McDonald House was the fact I did not want to bring my money to any organization that would take my money and the child that needed it, or the family would get 10 cents on the dollar. And some CEO in the Bahamas would say, go Bruce, go make more money, and he gets it. And when Robin said, what you give us stays here, stays at Ronald McDonald in Maine, help the kids here, then I knew, I'm going to bust my, to make money for that organization. And it grew. The dance sold out, and now we've done, which probably answering one of your questions, but that's how we came to the concept of doing that and raising money for the Ronald McDonald House. You know.
I was going to say, you've raised over $38,000 for us.
38 something with this next dance. With this next dance, I know we're going to go over 40,000. But the last October dance is we made $7,200, and we had expenses, but not a lot. You know, balloons, tablecloths, and everything else goes right to Ronald McDonald's. You know, so I'm hoping we get close to the same this time. That's going to bring us up to like $45,000 that we brought to Ronald McDonald. This is, I guess, $45,000 is not a lot for if you're a big company or something like that, but a little group of people doing a little rock and roll dance, you know, and come up with $45,000, and we're still going.
Right.
We're still going.
Well, and you were just telling me, we pretty much sold out for this October dance, right?
Alicia, it's insane. I didn't know if this would work. I didn't know how well. You know, first of all, it's $10, and you get, you know, 5 hours worth of music, and now we have videos on the Hour of Elvis and the Rolling Stones and whatever, you know, and the door prizes, and we sometimes have trivia questions and jitterbug contests, and it has grown to 10 days ago. What I do is I call all the people that have been, and I give them I just say tickets are available, and then
first come, first serve.
Yeah, and then 10 days later I call and say, okay, last call for tickets. In the past 3 years, we've been doing this 9 years, but we've done 13 dances in 9 years because we've had, this is going to be the 13th dance, because we've refused so many people. In the last 3 years, I think the lowest we refused after selling the 250 was 82 people.
Wow.
And last October, we sold 256 tickets and refused 106 people. So we said, well, we got to do 2 a year, so we do one in March. Now this one is, you know, it's sold out in 10 days. You know, there's like, you know, 2 here or 2 here, and you know, but that I call that it's pretty much sold out. And the reason we have the 2 and 2 is people will buy a table of 10, but they only have 8.
Right.
So I have 2 chairs. Well, there's no empty chairs. Somebody's going to fill those chairs. It may not be somebody you know, but you're not going to go with 2 empty chairs. Not going to have. And we get walk-ins also, you know. So what happens now, and I want people to call me and ask me about these dances, because if you can't make this one on October 14th, we're going to do another one in March. We already got the hall booked, and we'll talk about the hall later on, I hope. Actually, we can talk about it now. Sure. It's at the Eagles in Biddeford, and the Eagles have been so good to us. I mean,
great space.
They are awesome, awesome people. They know what we do. You know, no charge for the hall for us, nonprofit. We go in there a couple times a year. Whatever they say, no, whatever, we'll make it on the bar or not. And what you bring is people that sees the hall, and in their hope they'll rent it in the future, and they want to give back to the Ronald McDonald House, our event. They want to help it. They have been so supportive. It's insane. We go there the night before like we own the place. You know, we go in, we close off the hall. You know, they're awesome. I would do anything for that organization. I even offered one time, I said, you guys ever need to paint this hall?
We'll come in and paint.
I said, you supply the paint and the brushes, and I'll have 18 people from the committee in here, and we'll paint this hall, you know. Yeah. So, and we fix the lighting and stuff. We repair tables and chairs for them. It's like a win-win for everybody, but they are really. I was
going to say they've become part of your family, your committee family.
Well, you know how we look at it. Like, there's about 18 people on the committee.
Yep.
But I look at it as a committee of 250 people. Without the people that come, I wouldn't be hitting this money. They don't come for me. They come for the music. They come for, you know, they don't come for me. It's a committee of 250 people.
Yeah.
You know, and it's the most rewarding to look out and see people my age or even older that they'll slow dance, and it's so adorable. It touches your heart to see these people dance. Never thought they'd be able to dance to this kind of music again. Yep. You know, and they come, I'm telling you, they come from, I have one woman buys 40 tickets. I have people that come from Massachusetts buy a couple of tables, stay in a motel. Last year we had them come from Lewiston, Madawaska.
Wow.
Damascotta. It came from Damascotta. They came from all over. It's like, this thing it's insane. It's how this is going. And most rewarding thing I've ever done. It
That's
really
great.
is. It really is.
And so you said the committee started really with you, Wendy, and Bonnie and Roger.
Bonnie
They
and Ron,
said,
yep.
you know,
Kind of it. There
we'll
were a
help
couple of
out.
others and stuff,
Yeah,
and
yep.
we didn't
So
know.
how many, when you started the committee, how many people were, the first year, how many people did you have? And then how many people, you've grown
On
to
the
18?
committee? Yeah, on the
right?
committee there was, I think, 6 people the first year, and just through attrition it's down to, 4. But then people come along and say, we want to be involved. We want to be involved. We know what you're doing. We have one guy named Dave that lives down in Orchard. This guy's retired businessman, and he's not a high-pressured,
I've met Dave. He's great.
Yeah, he's not like a car salesman or somebody's going to pressure you into buying, and you ask him, will this car fly? Oh yeah, you put the wing adapter kit. He's not like that. He's very laid back, easygoing, nice guy. This guy has taken us. He collects 80% of the door prizes, and this year he's gone out. The guy's amazing. He's gone out and got big ticket things like a Weber grill. All kinds of stuff like that we don't, and then we sell the tickets, with the door prizes that, like I say, last year we had 97 door prizes,
Wow.
and we condensed them down to about 30 envelopes, so each envelope had 3 door prizes and stuff.
How do you win a door prize? Is it
But we sell tickets
raffle
like,
tickets
5
or-
for 5, 10 for 10, and I tell people, this is a fundraiser. It's a fundraiser. You pay $10 to get in, you're always going to pay $10. I've had people say, well, you can get more from coming in. No. I want $10 per person. You want to help us with our cause, buy more door prize tickets. You got a better chance of winning one of these envelopes. Win one envelope. You've paid for your $10, $20 whatever amount of tickets you buy. Because
Right.
it's a dance, but it's a fundraiser.
Yep.
So, and this one guy I'm talking about, he is retired, and he's got such a way with people, and he says, my job is going to be to get door prizes, and he goes after businesses and whatever. We got another one of the committee people that on her own, it's hard to give, I can't give names of businesses and stuff, because
Right, no,
well,
right.
it's like painting a target on them. You'll have everybody there saying, we want some too. So we have 2 businesses that stand out. I mean, they all stand out. We get, I forget how many different businesses, but in that ad we put in the paper with us giving the check, it lists all in the newspapers. And when I put the ad in, I say, yeah, you list every one of those businesses, because that's how we thank them for helping us. And I mean, every grocery store and every store, there's one little business. I can't say the name because she told me she'd kill me. But, this business actually made me cry. I went in there, and I'm happy. Give me a $20 gift certificate. We don't get it. It's for our people that come to our dance. She said, we picked 2 businesses that we support big time, and my event, my oldies rock and roll dance is one of the 2 that she picks. So she gives me an envelope, and there was a check in it for $1,000. Now I couldn't help. Then she even, one year I go in there, she says, well, we did something a little different. She says, we got you this, and so she gave us a 50-inch flat screen TV, right? Yeah, wow, was right. So then I thought it was it, and I said, thank you. So I get ready to leave. She said, here's your envelope. And then she gave the $1,000 on top of the flat screen. So, I mean, I'd do anything for that place. I can't say who it is, so because and then there's a bank that one of the committee members, Bonnie, she on us had an idea of, I'll see if the bank. So it cost us about, I don't know, about $3 something for all the decorations, the chair rental, some equipment rental.
Right, because you have to rent some extra chairs for this event too, because...
Yeah, well, see, the hall, God bless them, when they said, we're going to give you the hall for free, I said, well, why don't you let us give you a couple $100 and you could buy more chairs, right? So we won't have to rent 50 chairs. But then the people there, the committee that I went to and I spoke to the committee, they said, well, we'd be buying 50 chairs, and we can barely store a storage problem now. We'd have 50 more chairs to store,
Right.
and we don't have an event that we use 250 chairs for.
This is just to talk about the size of this event. It's amazing.
So then they said, look, just what does it cost you to rent a chair? And the place we rent, the rental place gives us a break on, so it's barely even, I think it's less than $1 a chair. So it costs us $50 to rent the chairs. And we have one guy, Roger, who's Bonnie's husband, he shuttles the chairs back and forth. And everybody does their part. There's a lady sells tickets. Her husband, Ray, and she's Carol, is good at electronics. He makes sure all the lights are working. It does all that. Then Roger and Bonnie, they get their own jobs. They hang records, and everybody is good at certain things. Not everybody's good at selling tickets, but they're good at something else.
Yep.
And that's what we've got now. We've got a committee of 18 people that are dedicated. They all have different strengths, and they all love the event. We meet twice a year. We got one couple, Barry and Elizabeth, that came. They moved here from. They used to live in New York City, right next door to Neil Diamond. I think it's Neil Diamond, yeah, or Neil Sedaka, one of the two, one of the Neils. Pick a Neil, anyone you want. They used to live near some Neil. It was either Neil Sedaka or Neil Diamond, one of the Neils. And they came and said, we'd love to be on the committee. So they come, and they live here, but they got a place now. And we had one lady that came to me one year at a dance and says, because we talk about American Bandstand. She says, I was one of the dancers on American Bandstand. Yeah. So I said, she said, well, I was one of the dancers. And she showed me pictures of her back when she was 16 and stuff. And there was certain couples back then that were real, that always had the limelight, like Justine and certain ones that they always seemed to the cameras homed in on.
Right.
She wasn't one of those, but she was in a lot of the pictures. So I said,
that's cool.
Yeah. So I said that. Well, you don't remember American Bandstand because you're like 12, but it's something that people my age remember. So I said, wow, we're going to do some trivia questions this year. So I said, come up with 3 or 4 trivia questions about American Bandstand. And I said, we're going to give out some CDs of Elvis and Ricky Nelson as prizes. So what I did is I played the intro song, the American Bandstand intro song that everybody knows if you ever watch the program. So, and I said, you guys remember American Bandstand, how cool it was? And all the crowd, yeah. And I said, well, we have somebody here that actually was a dancer on American Bandstand. So they were going nuts. So she came out, she did the thing and all that stuff. And one thing that I didn't know, and see, you know what American Bandstand was, right?
I do, yes.
And you know Dick Clark.
Yes,
right?
yep. Oh,
What people don't know is that when you say American Band, who was the originator of American, they say Dick Clark. No. There was a guy before Dick Clark, and we asked that as a trivia question. No one has ever guessed it.
Really?
Ever. And there was a guy named Bob Horn, Horn, that before Dick Clark did it, and then he got out of it, and Dick Clark came in, made it more well-known. They produced it in color, and then it went crazy. But before Dick Clark, there was some, people, this is...
That's a fun fact to know.
Well,
do
you know, and you probably don't, but I do, where did the term rock and roll come from? It just didn't, where did it come from?
No idea.
Well, you're going to find out right now there, Zippy.
Okay.
Where it came from is, there was a DJ, Alan Freed, out of Cleveland, Ohio, that back in the early 50s that came up with this rock and roll, and it's been, that's how it started. A DJ in Cleveland, Ohio named Alan Freed, and he came up with the term rock and roll.
Term rock and roll. And was there a definition for it, or just it was
rock and roll? It's kind of dance, I don't know. But I mean, all this started from jazz and Motown and all this.
That's kind of evolved into what it became.
And I did learn a lesson though. I had one lady one year come to the dance. We were in Kennebunkport then, and she said, "Do you have any?" Now, nothing wrong with country music before people start, throwing stuff at the TV screen. But it's whatever moves you.
Yeah.
It's like if rock and roll and Motown and that whole the artist that Motown produced, that's what moves me. I can hear the same song 50 times, the words, the meaning, the beat, it just comes, it just hits me, And other people I had a lady come to our dance and she said, do you have any, and I joked, all right, so she said, do you have any country and western? I said, her name was Donna. I said, Donna, if I played country and western, my equipment would throw up. I did. So I said, no, I don't have any country. So she said, well, you buy 2 songs. And I learned, she was right. So what I'm saying is I was wrong.
Yep. But she gave you 2 songs to...
No, she didn't give me, no.
Well, she suggested
Donna's
2 songs.
She's kind of stingy. I had to buy the 2 songs. They were $1 a piece, right, on iTunes, right? So I said, pick out a couple. I said, and I'll buy them. So now we were doing 1 a year then. We're in Kennebunkport. So she said, buy Achy Breaky Heart and Boot Scootin' Boogie. Now, I didn't know a boot scootin' from anything. I'm a Motown guy, right? So I buy them. So the following year, she comes up and she said, did you buy? I said, yes, I bought the 2 songs. Which one do you want me to play? I said, I can't do 2. I don't think, the place would empty, or I'd have to give everybody a straw hat, bib overalls, and a pitchfork. And so anyway, that's my sense of humor. So she said, play play a boot scoon boogie. So I play it, you know, and I'm playing with the equipment, and Wendy's beside me. She keeps hitting me. She says, look at the dance floor, look at the dance floor. So I looked up, you couldn't fit this cup on the dance floor. The dance floor was packed, and they weren't just doing like lines. They were, so I went to her and I said, Dawn, I said, pick out 30, you know, country and western songs, you know, of this caliber that well, and I'm going to buy them. It's worth the money. And so so even at our dances now, we put country western here and there,
and mix it in
of that type of beat that you can jitterbug to if you want, you know. And I got to tell you that the few that we put on, you look up and the dance floor is packed. So. You know, I guess I was kind of
People
wrong.
like it, yeah.
No, they do. They do.
So,
I know you're into like.
So thinking about music, though, how many songs do you have? Because you have a catalog. People can come up and request songs at the.
See, the thing is, you can only play what fits is 22 songs an hour. That's all you can put in. I mean, they're about 2.5, 3 minutes a song. You can only put 22 songs. There's your 60 minutes, right? So I have, over the years, I have 1,600 oldies. And you can only, out of that, you can play maybe, you know, for that night, 22 an hour for 5 hours. You can play roughly, you know, 125 songs, something like that.
Yeah, so a small percentage of what you have.
So we take requests, and Wendy has a book that's alphabetical by song and alphabetical by artist, in case you know the song or you don't know the artist, or vice versa, you know. So we take requests, and we have people that come every year. You know, they buy tickets every single year. So, yeah, it's
And Wendy's kind of your like co-captain.
She don't want
when
to be in
it
the
comes to
microphone.
that.
She just,
She takes the requests.
She sits down, because I'm playing with this equipment now that we have videos and stuff, and but it's the generosity of the people and how quick this sells out. It defies logic on this whole thing. I just didn't know it would, you know, if it would work. I would never guess into the, and like we had talked about earlier, I used to rent the equipment,
right?
You know, and the only problem I had with that is that I would get the equipment Saturday afternoon, and equipment I had never seen, because when I played music in Europe, it was 45s and we had reels and that kind of stuff. So I get this equipment. Now, what happens if 200 people back then, it's all the hall would hold, come and I hit the button and something's wrong. What do I do with these 200 people? So second year, I actually had a nightmare that would happen. I said, nah, I just can't. So I went out and I spent $3,800 of my own money. I bought the equipment, you know, and so I could play with it and produce a better rock and roll night for the people that come.
Right. I was gonna say, you have mixers, you have the whole. You have the whole situation.
And I'm kind of a weird. I have backup to the backup to the backup. I got and these speakers are powered. They're like $600 a piece. I got two, but I got a backup $600 speaker, backup mixers, backup. I got iPods, cable. I got backup because I don't want to be
setting up the next song.
Oh yeah, it's all. It's down to a science now, and it wasn't my intent, but I have been hired to do. I don't know how many different. I'm doing. On the 26th of this, I think it's 26th, 21st, whatever, Saturday in September, I'm doing a St. Louis High School class reunion. I've done like 7 class reunions. I've done, I mean, in the past, like last year, I've done weddings, retirement parties, birthday parties. So it's paid for that equipment. And that wasn't my intent. It was just to get the equipment to do the event that I do, you know, for the people. But it has really, it's grown. It's really grown, and I love it. I love it. It makes me feel good that a lot of people, when they get old, their only job is to guard the couch so no one steals their couch. And you know, I don't want to do that, man. I don't want to do that. I want to have fun. I want to produce something. I have people that come to me and say, you know, my wife and I never thought we'd dance again, you know, to the music that we grew up with, you know. And in this event, you see him up there. And the last one we did in March, we used to do them in February. We tried doing the second dance in February for Valentine's. Problem was we had to postpone the last one in February twice because of blizzards and no place to park. They, you know, and I said, okay, they're not going to come. So we postponed it 2 times, twice. So the third, we put it on after the
third reschedule.
Third. And I figured they're not going to come. Place was packed. They came anyway.
Awesome.
Know? So we said, now let's get out of the February. We'll do it at the end of March. Don't have to worry about parking or whatever. And they still come. So yeah, it's
was going to say, it seems like it really is your passion, even back
I love
from.
it. I love doing it. I love teasing the people. Like I get to know them, and I tell them, I couldn't do it without you guys. The committee's awesome, and they, like I say, they all have different strengths and stuff. And there's always new people wanting to come on and be involved because it's a legitimate thing. They know people. I produce and anybody out there that wants one, I'd be glad to give it to them. There's no secrets. I produce a financial report at the end of every dance. It shows every penny coming in, every penny going out, and I give every committee, and they say, oh, we don't trust you. No, you're going to have one. You're going to have a copy of this, so that nobody says, oh, what is he doing? No, that's not me, man. I'm being driven to do this, and not about the money. I put in hundreds of hours to get to do one. I call 99% of the people. But I love it. It gives me purpose, something to get up to do. It's funny. I'll get exhausted doing one, and then the next day I'm started
planning the next one.
Yeah, I know it.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But
Yeah.
I'm lucky, though. A lot of people don't have something to put themselves into like this, and it's a great cause. I love kids. I really love children, and I can't understand the concept of, children and cancer or other things. In my life, I lost my wife to cancer, my mother to cancer, mother-in-law to cancer, father-in-law. My father had cancer. Everybody said cancer. I just don't like cancer. And I see these little kids and stuff. I love kids.
You want to do everything you can to make sure that their families are comfortable.
These little kids and stuff, they don't deserve it. Yeah. They really don't. I mean, it's sad, but anyway, that's how this whole thing started. The dances. If you want to go, there are still, I say sold out, and there are, but there's like, two here, two here. What happens is somebody will buy 8 tickets for a table that holds 10. Yep. So I've got 2 seats. So I tell them, those 2 seats are not going to be empty. You're going to have 2 people at your table you don't know, or you buy the 10 tickets, because I'm not going to leave empty seats. That's money that goes to you. I'm not going to leave empty, So there's always that, last minute stuff, and we keep, I don't want to put in any more tables because it's so comfortable now. That was the problem in Kennebunkport. I kept adding tables because I didn't want to refuse people. Well, it got so you couldn't even get off, couldn't get it, push your chair back, you'd be hitting something. So I don't want to do this with this because this is much better location.
I've been a few times at this location and it's packed, but there's plenty of room to get around.
Yeah. So I added 1 table more now for this one. Well, I guess we run out of time, so I want to real quickly tell you, if you want tickets to the March one or whatever, call the number you're going to see on the screen. But I'm thinking of doing another show in February to promote the March dance. But what I want to do is I want to get somebody that was involved. So if anybody out there knows anybody that used to belong to the Lightning Club. They used to produce a dance at St. John's or St. Jean's Hall in Biddeford here when I was a kid. Anybody that's still alive or a relative of somebody that belonged to that club that put those dances on, please call me. I'd like to have them sitting here for the February show. So thank you, and don't forget to rock and roll.